Hey everyone, welcome back. My name's dustinkreis, and today we are going to do a game discussion, and we're going to talk about another game that I don't have a physical copy of. We're going to talk about Mega Man Legends. They just released this game on PSN finally, after a whole bunch of legal hoo-ha over some Japanese. I guess it was actual Japanese stores or something that they put in the game, and then they had to wrestle like the legal rights or something too. I think that's what hung the game up for so long, coming to the PSN. But this is a game that I never got around to playing. Back in the day, I had several chances to pick it up, but it always, I like when I was younger, my brain couldn't wrap around Mega Man doing anything other than a 2D side-scrolling game. So I never picked it up, and as the years went by, I realized what it was, and I wanted to give it a shot, and I never either found it or got around to buying it. And then now I'm at the point where I don't want to pay ridiculous prices for these games, and I haven't looked up the price for Mega Man Legends. But I've looked up the prices for Mega Man Legends 2 since I just played Legends 1 on PSN, and the prices for Mega Man Legends 2 are just outrageous. And I can only imagine what the prices for Legends 1 or Mega Man 64 would be. So once they announced it on PSN, and some people have kind of pitched a little fit about it being $10. When I saw it on there for $10, I was like, whoosh, done. And I downloaded it and I played it, and I'm here to tell you the game is fun. It is a ridiculously fun little adventure game. There's a few caveats to the game, but I'm really happy that I finally got to play it, and I really wish I would have played it a lot sooner. This would have been one, like, back in the day that if I had the, I don't know, the open-mindedness that I have now about games to give it a shot, I would have really enjoyed this back in the day. Because basically, take like parts of the Mega Man mythos and then just kind of throw it into a Zelda game, and you sort of kind of have Mega Man Legends. It's really funny how the entire time I was playing it, it really did kind of feel like, Ocarina of Time or something. Not a one-for-one comparison and all that jazz, but just the sheer fact of exploring these kind of big environments. And there's a lot of exploration in the game, and it being like an adventure game, almost an RPG, instead of being a side-scrolling action game. It really, I don't know, after playing all these Metal Gear games and having all these very serious, very gritty storylines, to have something colorful and cute and just whimsical, it was just very refreshing, and it was probably the perfect game I could have played right now. So let's go ahead and get into it and talk about it. This kind of changes the Mega Man mythos a bit, in that he's not created by Dr. Light, as far as I know, because the story continues in Mega Man Legends 2. And there's no robot masters or anything like that. No Dr. Wily. Instead, this guy who's named Mega Man in this game is a digger in this world, and a digger is someone who explores underground like dungeons in order to find these pieces of ancient technology that the modern civilizations use to sort of further advance themselves. And he's off on a dig. He finds the item he's looking for, and then lo and behold, as they leave the place, they get attacked, and their little airship crash lands on this small little island. And the game starts off as you trying to repair this airship so you can leave the island, and then from there you kind of get wrapped up into a world-shattering event, as you always do in sort of these Japanese RPG, Japanese adventure games. And the storyline, while in terms of its epicness, not so much. In terms of its charm and its whimsy, man, I really had a good time with these characters. We'll get into the voice acting aspect a little bit later, but just the silliness of the storyline and the sort of lighthearted tone until you get to the end and it kind of does a quick shift. It's just really refreshing and really I miss games kind of being like this. Alex just got done playing Grandia, and it's a very lighthearted, sort of whimsical game, very bright and cheerful. And it seems like those types of games are really few and far between nowadays. Everybody kind of wants the grit and the grime and the serious storylines, and to have something kind of whimsical and colorful, like this, lighthearted like this. It just wouldn't do very well nowadays. But back in the PlayStation 1 era, which is really the era where things started to shift that way, to a more mature thing. Yeah, the PlayStation 1 is kind of the last bastion for that, really. I guess, with the handhelds, you kind of get that a little bit more. But I really enjoyed the storyline. It's not going to set anybody's world on fire. You're not going to sit there and go, oh man, Mega Man Legends is like the greatest video game story ever told. But, it's a nice little, I don't want to say palate cleanser compared to, everything that I've been playing and everything that seems to come out nowadays. But in a lot of ways it is. It feels very refreshing to play something that, is just silly and fun. And that's really what Mega Man Legends is. In terms of the gameplay, a nice big open area to explore. Not as big as maybe Ocarina of Time, but the island that you're on is not small when you start to think about, what medium it's on and when the game came out and all that stuff. It actually is very impressive in terms of its size and how many different places you explore and all that stuff. But you control Mega Man, and you just kind of, a lot like Zelda, you just kind of explore these areas. As you get more items, you can explore more areas. You collect, every time you battle enemies, you collect, it's called Zenny in this game. They're like crystals. And you can spend those crystals on upgrades to your armor, to your Mega Buster, all these different things. Special weapons you can find. Items that roll can turn into special weapons. And these weapons have, varying degrees of usefulness. There's a couple that you'll use a lot in combat, and then there's a couple that you really need to really explore the different areas of this island. And usually the ones that you need for exploration are right in your path, so you'll not miss out on those. But a lot of the weapons, you get their parts and things like that through side quests. And this is one of those games that doesn't really tell you how to go about opening up the side quests. If you use a guide, you'll have no problem finding the side quests. But there's a lot of side quests in this game, surprisingly. I think my final clock time was like 11 and a half hours. But if I probably did all the side quests, I could have easily stretched it out to 14 hours. So it's not going to take you very long to play the game. But the combat is fun. The exploration is fun. The upgrading your stuff gets kind of addictive. The only problem with the gameplay, aside from it being a PlayStation 1 game and, menu speed and, having to save a certain way and things like that, the problem is the controls. I believe this game was made before the dual stick analog control came out. And it really shows, because you have to use the D-pad to move around in a 3D space. And so your up and down, like your forward button makes Mega Man run forward in sort of a tank controls. They're back. And then your left and right, he'll strafe left or right. And then you use the R and L buttons. Use the R and L buttons to turn the camera. Now, this works well and good when you're exploring dungeons and when you're out in the field and things like that. The problem is the camera speed is very, very slow when you're in boss battles. And I gotta tell you, the boss battles are a lot of fun in this game, but at the same time, they're probably one of the most frustrating aspects of the game because you're not really fighting the boss itself. You're fighting the camera, and those are the real bosses, the camera. Um, you will get very frustrated with this game. I'm not going to lie to you. The boss battles and the control scheme, it takes a long time to get used to. And eventually you will get used to it and you'll start having a lot of fun. But then you'll get to a boss battle and you'll have to sort of figure out how to best manipulate the controls in order to beat the boss. I know that last boss man, oh my god, I was just, finally I just said screw it. I went and I grinded a lot of Zenny and bought a whole bunch. You get a canteen in this game that can hold a certain amount of energy, so you can use it if your energy depletes down. You can use it to recharge your life bar, and as you buy more and more and more, the canteen expands. So by the end of it, I had 20 out of 20 units in the canteen, and I think my life bar was 8 units. So every time I would use it, I would use 8 out of it, and then 8 out of it, and then I'd use 4 out of it. So I had 2.5 full heals in that canteen, and even then, with the control scheme and trying to fight that last boss and all of his different attacks, man, it was just. I finally, I was getting late and I was getting tired and I was like, all right, I'm going to try it one more time. And if I don't get it, I'm going to go to bed and I'll do it in the morning. And lo and behold, on that last fight, I got it. But it was a hard won fight because I had used all of my canteen and I was literally down to the last bar of energy that I could have before I would die. And if I got hit once, game over. And somehow I was able to sort of zone in on the game and just finish it. And in a lot of ways, it was a lot like fighting a boss in the Dark Souls games because it just, you put the controller down and you just kind of sit there and you're like, you know. But yeah, aside from that, and aside from jumping, because eventually you get these spring shoes that allow you to jump really high. And there's one side quest where you have to quickly go around and defuse 2 bombs in the downtown area of the city. One's not hard to find. The other one is on top of a roof. And every time you fail and reload, the roof changes. So jumping up on top of these roofs is a bit of a challenge with the way the controls are. You'll think you're getting ready to jump straight ahead, and then he'll just shoot off to the side because maybe you accidentally shifted the D-pad a little bit to the left or something. It gets really infuriating every now and then with the controls, and but you do figure it out, and there is a lot of fun to be had with the game. If there was ever a 3DS re-release of these games that use like the new 3DS with the 2 control sticks, or if they do it on PS or like a PS Vita re-release, HD graphics and all that jazz, Capcom will never do that, but if they ever would and they put the dual sticks, oh man, this game would be gold, absolute gold. But the control scheme, I will tell you, it does hold things back. But there is a really good action-adventure game here to be had, and I'm really hoping that they release Mega Man Legends 2 on PSN eventually, because I had a really good time with this. Music. We'll go with music, and then we'll talk about the graphics at the end. The music is kind of few and far between. The songs that are here are kind of typical for the era and the style of game it is. Kind of bright and cheery songs. Every now and then, kind of a cool sounding like synth song or something, just to kind of sell the technological environment that you're in. But a lot of times when you're out in the field, the only thing you will hear is birds chirping. It's very atmospheric when you're out on like the overworld field. Nothing but birds chirping. The voice acting goes from actually really quite good to holy crap, you can tell that this is like the first time that they've dealt with voice acting. It's not as bad as like Mega Man 8. That's really bad. But every now and then, like, some of the lines will fall flat because of the way... It's kind of one of those old school games where the voice acting is happening, but you also have the text box beneath, and you have to press the X button to continue the text box. So people will be talking, and they'll just stop mid-sentence until you hit the X button to continue the voice acting. And it can make for some very stilted dialogue, but for the most part, the voice acting is really good. Sometimes it sounds like people are like recording themselves through a tin can, and but again, it's how old of a game on the PlayStation 1? I mean, really, this is like the first era they were even doing voice acting in games. So, console games, let me say that. First generation, they were really doing it in console games. I know there was some games before that, like Star Fox and, you know, Star Ocean and things like that, where they did have voice acting, you know. But the 32-bit era is really where it came into its own. The graphics... Mixed bag. I love the colorfulness of it. Really refreshing to have that big colorful world. And there's something weird about that era's polygonal graphics. Like, at one point in time, it ages horrifically, but there's something about the jankiness of the polygon characters and how pixelated everything is. I don't know, there's something about it that even to this day when I look at it, I still think, oh my god, this is like the next generation of graphics, because I was there from the transition from 16-bit to 32-bit, and I remember how amazing those games first looked, and now they look like complete garbage. You know, a lot of the kids out there today will probably look at Mega Man Legends and go, Jesus Christ, you know, this is awful, you know. I mean, Minecraft looks a bit better than this. So I can see how kids today would probably think that. But me looking at it with my nostalgic eyes, I still get like, oh, I can't believe how good these graphics are. And then my brain kicks in going, no, this is not really that good. But the thing that's actually really good about this game is the animation. Not only the animation with the characters, you know, them being super blocky looking, you know, they still animate very fluidly. And the faces on these characters are extremely well animated. Instead of like having like polygonal faces, they just have sprite faces on the polygons. And the animation, I mean, sometimes it does look like you're watching a cartoon. I have to admit, especially Teasel Bond, his facial expressions when he's given his big speeches are some of the most hilarious things I've seen in a game. There's a lot of humor in this, and sometimes it falls flat, but sometimes it's actually really, really good. And but yeah, you know, it's very blocky, you know. Graphics of that era, unless it's like sprite-based 2D graphics, really just haven't aged all that well. I just started playing Metal Gear Solid and decided to shelve it again. But even playing that, I mean, on one hand, it does look very impressive, but on the other hand, whew, we've come a long way. But that being said, there is a nostalgic part of me that going back to those graphics, I'm like, oh man, these look great, you know, so... I don't know. Mega Man Legends is a great, surprisingly great action-adventure game that is really only held back by its control scheme. And you just need to spend some time with the controls and you will understand how to use them and things like that. But boss battles will be will be tough. But hey, I got through it, and if I can get through it, you can get through it. So it's $10 on PSN, or you can go out and pay however many bucks for a legit copy. But I highly recommend it. You know, it was just kind of like a thing. Like I saw it was finally coming out, and I was like, you know, I've always wanted to play one of those. And I was kind of hoping that Mega Man Legends 3 would be my entry into the series, you know. But then it got canceled, and these two were on PSN, and I didn't want to play Trombone, The Misadventures of Trombone, until I'd played these two. So, yeah, after I got done playing Mega Man Legends, I immediately downloaded The Misadventures of Trombone. But I think I'm going to wait and see if they bring out Mega Man Legends 2. I'm hoping they did. I've talked to a few people that have downloaded the game. Hopefully, it's so buried on PSN. I hope people know that it's out there on PSN now, because it really is buried. Like, even when you type in Mega Man, it doesn't show up in like the top links. You have to go down below into like everything and like scroll through everything to find Mega Man Legends. But definitely a really good game. Sort of a I don't want to say a forgotten classic, because I think a lot of people still that have played it really like it and think fondly of it. But I think it is one of those ones that has kind of, you know, slipped back. Everyone talks about like Legend of Zelda and things like that, and here's this other great action adventure game that I don't see a lot of videos on. You know, Rob Man will talk about Mega Man every now and then, but I don't see a lot of videos on Mega Man Legends. So anyway, guys, definitely check it out. $10, PSN, download it, play it. Have patience with the controls, because there is a really fun, lighthearted adventure to have here, and it really hit the spot. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. So anyway, that is it for this video. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you next time.